All right, Kevin back with you for another episode of the $1 Million Relationships Podcast. And today I'm here with Jeremy Barker. Jeremy, welcome. So awesome to have you on the show today.
Nice to have me, or nice to be here, Kevin. I'm sorry. I'm glad that I could make it. And what a great opportunity to be here with you today.
I'll
Thank
tell
you.
you, you and we got to connect before. And I'll tell you, man, I was really inspired by some of the stuff that you shared with me. And I've been looking forward to doing this interview with you today, Jeremy.
Well,
And
thank you.
Yeah, and I'm going to start off by just giving a quick shout out to the folks over at the Quoted platform because that's how you and I connected, and I
Yeah.
just really appreciate those guys and what they're doing at that platform. And I've been connected with some really amazing guests through the podcast through those guys, and
Through
so
those guys.
yeah, absolutely. And so
Don't
we'll
burn
just
those bridges, right? Those
that's
ones
right.
that help you stay connected. Those are good. Always be thankful because
Oh, you bet.
what do they say? Network is your net worth, right? And it matters.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yes. And of course, you know what? I mean, relationships, that's what this podcast is all about. And so I'll just start off by asking you a real simple question to start and just get the conversation going. What do you do, Jeremy?
so right now, I'm the founder and CEO of Murphy Door. That's
Okay.
the main thing that I do every single day, and it's a job that I absolutely love because we get to deliver some of the fun things that go into houses, not stuff like footings and foundations. Not that those aren't the most important pieces of the house, but we get to do the little fun talking parts that people, the experiential level items where
Yeah.
people get to have experiences in their homes. So that's what we love. It's fun.
Yeah.
Getting people's dreams and imaginations that they've had since they were little kids to work and have them actually experience it. It's a good time.
So, how did you actually happen to get into that kind of a business, Jeremy?
Right. That's a really common question, especially coming from my past career. I've had several different careers in my life. I've won at some and lost at many. And with Murphy Door, I founded it while I was a full-time firefighter paramedic in Utah and was trying to put together a hidden little theater room. I shouldn't say a hidden theater room, a theater room for my kids. And I have a small home. So the theater was fairly small. And I knew that I couldn't deliver an incredible, beautiful theater room, but I knew that I could create an experience for my little girls to take their friends through the doorway into the theater room that was subpar. So I had to kind of reverse the focus. Most people think about what, video system they're going to use and sound system and chairs and seating and auditorium seating and all that kind of crap. Well, I didn't have that kind of budget. So I'm like, well, let's say we could make something fun and create kind of a ticket booth experience for my girls to give their little friends a ticket through a door that looks kind of like a Zoltar, future teller or fortune teller kind of experience. But then that door would open when they give their friends the tickets, and then they can come into the subpar theater room. But either way, that was the idea. And when I started searching for that back in probably 2010, 11, when I was trying to put that stuff together, there wasn't anybody really doing it. So I found an opportunity there, and I thought, well, if I, as a poor firefighter, kind of want that experience, I'm sure there's many people that would probably want that experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
through some tests and fails, it was hard to get a door hardware system to work for a door that heavy. So we created some hinges, and then it went from there. And it was initially Murphy Door was just the hinges that we'd sold. And it was a good side job to fire. I could still do fire. I never wanted to leave firefighting and paramedics. And that was kind of my passion. This was supposed to just kind of supplement my income.
Okay.
And then after about 5 years, it had grown to about 5 million in revenue. So in 2016, I was
You
about just
definitely
under 5 years.
supplemented a little, didn't you?
And then I figured it's hard to do both. My wife said, honey, you're working 520 hours a month, not just 160 or 240 like a firefighter.
Yeah.
Yours is much more than that. So you need to make a decision. And that's when I decided to leave full-time fire and go into a part-time status and then focus solely on Murphy Door. And then from
Okay.
there, of course, we've created Murphy Ladder and a big real estate portfolio of commercial real estate and hotels and different things like that. But
Wow. Wow.
kind of fun.
So, yeah, it sounds like it, and it's unique. I mean, I'm sure there's other companies that do like what you do, but in all my years being an entrepreneur, and I mean, I talk with a lot of entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
You're the first person I've ever met who does something like this,
Yeah.
So,
For sure. It's pretty niche. And Murphy Door owns about 92% of the world's search of hidden doors right now. So
okay.
there's
Okay.
it's the name, and we're trying really hard not to let it become genericized because it is becoming synonymous with hidden doors. So people are
Mhm.
like, I have a Murphy Door. Well, that's not our brand. So it's kind of we became the category which you always dream of, like, man, if we couldn't become X, like Heinz ketchup or Kleenex or Velcro. But there's also something that you have to be very careful with, and that's not to become genericized. You don't want your brand to be diluted and everybody building the same thing that you're building, and everybody assumes it's that, because then you don't have the brand recognition. Everybody's building that. So we have to fight really hard to maintain the brand authority, number one, and to make sure our brand doesn't become the generic brand, genericided. So,
Okay. Okay. So what inspires you most about the work that you get to do in running this business, Jeremy?
well, like I told you right before we got on the call, I'm at this really cool location in Las Vegas, and it's
Yeah.
fun to hear their vision for their location. It's a commercial setting, has to do with some stuff that some people find controversial or not. I mean, it's not anything immoral or anything, but some people are, depending on their position. But they wanted to make it an experience out of it, and they have this fun vision. And then we get to create the vision and say, is this what you're talking about? And help them deliver this thing. They didn't know how it would all come together or how you create these type of experiences, like John Wick experience in Las Vegas there.
Mhm.
That's an
Mhm.
amazing experience. And they said, hey, man, we want to create the same kind of vibe as the John Wick experience. And we did that for them for John Wick. And so that we've been getting a lot of calls for these kind of things for businesses that are trying to, change retail per se. Like, we don't want to just go shopping anymore. How do we become experience? How do we have an experience while shopping and try to attack all five senses, right? Smells and feels and sounds, and make it so you're interactive with that experience. And that's something we've gotten really good at. And we enjoy the crap out of doing it. So that's what makes me excited for my job, is I get to go around and meet with some incredible people. I feel like Forrest Gump every day. Like, am I really sitting here with these people? Like, I have looked up to these guys for I don't know how many years, and I'm literally having dinner with them. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just because, it doesn't matter if it's the 8-year-old that's dreaming of a Barbie room or their Barbie Murphy house or whatever, or all the way to this 70-year-old that's still wanting to have their humidor or their speakeasy or their gun room or their red room or whatever. Like, we get to play in all different spaces and in all different levels of the dream. So every mindset, everybody has different goals and different likes. And I don't think that I could find a better job that gets to play in the exciting level. I mean, paint's one thing or carpet's one thing, but when you're trying to bring their creative mind and be able to deliver something, and they're truly the architect of your action. So where you're delivering that piece is just something else. I love going to work every day.
Yeah. I bet
So
you've got to do a lot of cool projects and stuff. What's one of the coolest projects you've done that just really stands out for you?
the one of the coolest I can talk about, because most of
Okay,
them
well
get
there you
NDAs
go.
on.
There you go.
That's
Yeah,
the
because you
problem.
guys serve a lot of celebrities and all that too and
Yeah,
stuff.
all
So,
of them. Like, and truly, that's the big portion of our. I should say the big portion. It's a big portion of the bigger projects, right? A
okay.
lot of doors. We're doing a door every 6 minutes, so that tells you the velocity of what we're
Wow.
producing. But when it comes to big projects, yeah, that's a big celebrity piece. But I mean, literally, if you guys haven't been to John Wick Experience in Vegas, that gives you a lot of what we do in the experiential thing. And that's been a really, really fun one to be part of. And it's very public and known, and I can share that. Even Lionsgate that is fine with that, me sharing. So it's one of those you walk sensitive. Um, but my podcast studio, like that in itself, that was a fun one. You got it staged, you walk through different elements. You have the lounge where you get to know each other, then you have the speakeasy section, and then you go back into the depth of the podcast piece. So it's kind of tiered into
Okay.
the that experience thing. So I don't know. My favorite probably though that gives a whole bunch of different realms and elements is that John Wick experience. It's got so many wide varieties of door systems and wall systems that we did to make sure you could get the experience of the room and the story of John Wick as you go through it.
That's really
So
cool. Wow.
it's a good highlight of what we can do for
Yeah.
you or for your business or for your store or for your showroom or your boardroom. Like, there's all those different elements that we do for so many different types of companies
Okay.
and homes. So kind of crazy. It's
Yeah.
weird, right?
That's really
So
cool. That's really cool. Well, okay, so now that we've got some context set here, I want to switch gears just a little bit. I want to start talking about relationship side of this too.
sure.
So, Jeremy, have you ever been introduced to a person or persons who completely changed the course of your life or your business, so much so that much of what you have today would not be possible if not for this person or persons.
Oh,
And
100%.
okay,
100%. So his name's John Porter, and John
okay,
Porter is a stake president, was a stake president up in our neighborhood for the LDS Church. I'm not Mr. Church guy. However, he took a liking to me nonetheless, and him single-handedly saw something in me that I didn't see in me, and having the abilities to help me see it, as well as the financial opportunity to get me to where I want to go, is one of those things that he changed my life forever. And I would absolutely not be here today if someone like him didn't believe me or give me the financial ability to to do that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I tell people
yeah,
calm down. But yeah, so that guy is absolutely will forever sit in a special place in my heart. And I guess when I was younger, I had a lot of people like that as well, but I was also very arrogant in that realm of understanding that people do make a difference. And when your mom said never burn a bridge, how important that is to never burn a bridge. I was really good at burning bridges and not building bridges. I felt like everything that was happening to me was based upon my efforts and my work and my, it's, you know what I mean? Everything that I was doing, I was solely the guy that delivered all the benefits that I was getting, and how wrong I was. Um, and it took a while. It took a couple bankruptcies and some bad depression to figure out that, hold on a second, it's everybody else that I also need to be appreciative of and thankful for, that helped me get here. And so after I got through those pieces, I now recognize the people and try to really enjoy those, you know.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting because you're right. I mean, I think, it sounds like so you learned through that process the real importance and the value of right relationships and stuff through that whole process, and like even burning a few bridges in. Oh, I don't know how many you burned along the way, but so now I'm just kind of curious. So what if we look at this relationship and what is an example of a situation where you personally, Jeremy, got to make a really substantial impact, and maybe even in the moment, maybe it even surprised you a little bit, but you also know that would have never been possible without this individual in your life that you've just were talking about and stuff. What's an example of something like that?
Man, I've had a lot of people say, "Hey, man, you changed my life. You did this." I don't know if I could account for it. Like, I don't look at that as something that I did without them doing too.
Okay.
So I can't say, like, I mean, I could identify businesses, I could identify individuals, I could identify homes, but I think just as much as I had the opportunity to help, it wasn't because I was there to help. It was just given the right tools to help at the time.
Mhm.
Somebody that was willing to accept help, that also, one, I should say, needed the help, two, willing to accept the help, which is also a whole level skill set, like to be able to understand when it's time to take it, and to be able to understand that you need to be lifted at this time, and it's not a pride thing for you. It's just that you've been introduced to someone special at a certain time when you needed them the most. And that guy, I mean, it's not luck and it's not coincidence. It's just timing does matter. I mean, you would think that when you go into somebody or you visit someone that needs help and you have the capacity to help, they also have to have the capacity to be able to receive the help,
That's
and
right.
you do something with the help. So I try every day, or I shouldn't say every day, I try to look for opportunities every day. Like, what can I do for someone? And then number two, um, what can I do that's for a larger group than just one? So I do my best to participate in things like the fire service. Like in Utah, we did a big thing with Pulse Point software that notifies all first responders when there's a cardiac arrest near them, even if they're on or off duty, that they could run over and help someone with CPR. So we
Wow.
empowered the whole county to have that type of thing. That's just one thing. And then for schools and I don't know, there's just so many opportunities there.
Yeah.
But I try to help more in a group setting, and in the sense that what can I do that will help the most people with the same amount of effort as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
When you have limited amount of time but more resources, you have the ability to help more people at the same time.
Yeah.
So even though I don't just say I won't have singulars because they absolutely do need it when they give it. Drug rehab thing's pretty common, helping people through their addiction processes. We do that a lot. I mean, I
Okay.
don't know. Some of those things I don't know. I do whatever I can because I know that if you don't give, you don't get.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty important component of growth is you have to look for the opportunities to give if you're expecting growth to come. So
Amen.
it's as much
Absolutely.
as you hunt for growth and work, you should hunt just as much as for the opportunity to give. And right now, it's much easier for me to give money than it is time. So if you
Mhm.
truly want when someone gives you your time, that's finite. And depending on the person you're with, the resources aren't necessarily finite. Some of them they could spend we were doing math on a person I was with the other day, and they could spend about $12 a second for the next 250 years and never run out of money. So, like that's a different level. That's not finite resources. So the time that they give you, I was with them for several hours, and I'm thinking, man, finite resources would be his time. And
Absolutely.
so I look at the opportunity to give time as a much better ability. Like I try to give my time more than money because I find myself giving money as a lazy way out and act like I participated.
Okay.
Like, well, I gave him money, you know what I mean? I said whatever, but that's really a lazy way for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, and
I hate to say that. I
well,
hate to say that, but it's
but
like
it's
I'm giving you money to
true.
get out of it.
Yeah, and you're right, and I get it because I I get to hang out with some really amazing entrepreneurs, and I've been doing this for years, and the more successful an entrepreneur becomes, the more valuable their time becomes. And so, and like you said, you become successful entrepreneur. It's really easy to give money, and you especially you give it to the right places, and you can make a really good impact that way. But given your time, yeah, you can totally do that too. But at the same time, your time is extremely valuable now. Your time is far more valuable now than it was before you started running a successful business and stuff.
That's right. That's right. When it
And
comes to a dollar relation, I mean, and that's where I think people in the fire service, some of my closest friends, like, oh, dude, your time's worth way more than mine. I'm like, actually, our time is worth the exact same amount,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Because I mean, we all are living on the exact same clock. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're the president of the United States or you're a newborn baby, we only have as much time. Now, granted, we get further down the clock and we have less of it,
Yeah.
but truly we only have 24 hours a day. We only have 60 hours, 60 minutes an hour. And it does come down. Now I think one skill that's very important is to learn how to truly appreciate, respect, and capitalize and maximize your time. And I'm not great at that yet. I'm working on it. Like calendaring and managing your time is such an art and such a skill set that I think it should be a whole class in school. Like understanding that you should be appreciative and take advantage of every minute you're given and make sure you're getting the most out of it and why it is so important to stay off social media as long as you can. And it's fine if you entertain it for a few minutes, but I have a 15-minute limit on mine for a day. And when it comes up with the notification that says, hey, you've spent 15 minutes on this, like, are you sure you want to waste any more minutes? And I do sometimes. I mean, let's be honest, like you're sitting on a plane, you burn some time, but I've learned how to turn airplane time into work time or
Mhm.
whatever. But I mean, that's something the time is precious,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your vision for the company going forward from here, Jeremy?
I have a big vision. Like I'm
Okay.
excited for what Murphy Door does. And it's funny because Murphy Door is just what people perceive as a door business, but I look at it as more of a laboratory for what I see the future of manufacturing and retail to look like.
Okay.
Like, and I was a big proponent for tariffs, and I still am. And I know that it's frowned upon, and people hate that answer. And I've been ridiculed and invited to freaking big, huge seminars all the way to Mar-a-Lago to talk about tariffs. And even though I have one brand, my Murphy Ladder brand is highly impacted by tariffs, by the
Mhm.
way. Like I lost several million dollars off of the tariffs in this deal. But one thing and I'll play it out for you.
Yeah.
Um, the reason, number one, that I find it so important is manufacturing near us for us doesn't just do something for the employment people around us. but it also does something for the consumer at a bigger level than they think. So let's say that I'll give you an example. When you buy furniture at let's call it RC Willie or Ashley Furniture or whatever, you get limited selections of nightstands or beds. Like they have this style with three colors. And there's a reason, right? Because they can't build every different size and every different color with that collection because they would take so many freaking containers and a huge amount of inventory that, by the way, by the time it comes to you is 4 or 5 months old. Plus you have RDC time, and then you have 3PL time, and you have all these different steps along the way that it's really hard to do catalog changes, collection changes, and excess inventory or mass customization. Well, if you think about it on the global scale, most commodities are transacted at the same price worldwide. You got aluminums, you got woods, you got metals. They're all transacted on commodity exchanges.
Okay.
So then the question is, what's our proximity to the commodity? That's really going to be the price separation. Well, in the United States, we're super lucky because we have most commodities. I'm not saying all commodities. We have most commodities local. Then the next question is, what's your, proximity to that distribution component of whatever refinement? And then, excuse me, from there, we deliver it to the manufacturing component, and then it's what's the proximity to the client base. Well, if you're buying it overseas, the commodities coming from South Africa, America, back to the port of Shanghai, inland, then back to the port of Shanghai, to the port of Long Beach, port of Savannah, port of wherever. Then it goes to a 3PL inland, then it goes to an RDC or to a manufacturing component, then to an RDC or whatever. So the cool thing with Murphy Door is we buy domestic products that goes from manufacturer, from the commodity to our plant, from our plant to you. So what happens is the tail of inventory is zero, which if our tail of inventory is zero, it means that every single thing we make can be 100% customized. You can choose the wood type, you can choose the handle, you can choose the swing, you can choose the size, you can choose when you want it, you can choose where you want it, and you can choose what you want. So what you want, where you want, when you want. So I look at Murphy Door as my laboratory to be able to highly customize anything, where Murphy Door has over, I don't know, 35, 50 million. I don't know how many SKU variables anymore. It's insane with the beds. It's probably approaching 100, but we can literally take everything that you want, cut it, select the wood types, and paint it the way you want and ship it to you. And it can be exactly what you need to fit in your space. So I look at this, we'll do with the doors. Now we're starting our furniture line. So we have nightstands, dressers, armoires, TV entertainment centers. And literally you say, I want it this wide, this tall, this deep. I want this drawer, this glass, this handle. And it'll fit your living room exactly the way you need it and be delivered within 30 days. So now if you were to do that with any type of outsourced manufacturing from overseas, you're literally 3 to 5 months, let's say, on an expeditious schedule. And that's if you're lucky, right? And here's the thing, no one's going to do that. No one is going to bring in one piece on a container, highly customized for you. They're going to have to order a whole container of that. So
Yes.
realistically,
Yes.
that opportunity is not. So I think the more we have this opportunity to do this, the more customizations that occur. So when customers think, hey, well, look, tariffs are bad, tariffs are this, well, I'm not Mr. Green. For heaven's sakes, I cut trees down for a living. It's not that I'm anti-green or anti-environment, but if you think about what we're doing, the amount of diesel fuel, the amount of logistics, the amount of extra waste that goes in when you're starting to swerve stuff all over the world, rather than from commodity to manufacturer to customer, almost straight line with highly cut, highly optimized sheeting material to go to that exact product with minimal waste. And then because the United States is so strict on EPA regulations, that we're following those rules where some other nations aren't. And then on top of that, Murphy Door does such a great job in the aspect of benefits. All our employees have 100% health, 100% dental, 100% vision, 4% match on their 401k, tuition reimbursement, maternity,
Wow.
paternity, and 5 weeks off. So, I mean, we get screamed at in one ear about, hey, make sure you take care of your customer, your employees. They need to get all these benefits. And then when they go to the register, they're saying, hey, why are you so expensive? It's like, well, we're following environmental rules. We're giving all your employees a livable wage that you asked for. But when you're going to Home Depot to buy this door and you see Quingsu door and you see Murphy door, and you're like, well, you guys are twice as much money. Well, it wouldn't be that case. But at the same time, there is a reason, right? We're asking to make sure that our employees do the best employment they could possibly do. and that we're going to take care of them as an employer to the best of our ability. And
Yep.
when you're outsourcing, we don't know what our employees or how they're being taken care of. At least this way, we can be a responsible business to make sure we keep high environmental management, making sure we're not wasting and putting VOCs into the air, making sure we recycle. Even our lacquers get recycled. We re-distill our lacquers and turn it into cleaner. So I mean, we
Wow.
go all the way to that.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not an environmentalist, but I'm also a capitalist. And it's funny because like, oh, you're a capitalist, you're anti-environmental. I'm like, actually, if you're a really good capitalist, you're extremely environmentally friendly because you're
Mhm.
taking advantage of
Mhm.
every resource and maximizing the capital opportunity that that can provide. So you can live in harmony with those two.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Back to why I felt like tariffs are important. It's because the customer can have what they want, where they want, when they want. And imagine a place where you can choose your shirt, the exact size, the materials, the color, your shoes the same way like Nike's doing, your hats, your glasses, over everything. It can be optimized per size, per material, minimizing waste, minimizing environmental impact, and maximizing the customer's enjoyment and customization that they want. And that's why I'm for tariffs, because now, if again, I'm a high capitalist. But at the same time, if capitalism wasn't in the way of everybody needing to pay these dividends and stuff at the end of every quarter on uh, publicly traded exchanges, imagine if they said, "Hey, we're going to hold on paying any dividends and we're going to put a bunch of money back into the capex and make sure that we build a manufacturing local so we can do X, Y, and Z." The next COVID or other kind of pandemic or war that occurs, they're going to be less susceptible to these disruptions because they're completely managing their manufacturing chain as well as optimizing who's their commodity base and how it's getting distributed to their client.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I like it. I mean, to me, it's an important component to make companies really reflect and take the opportunity to become manufacturers again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, they're
Yeah.
just really a marketing company, right? Let's be honest. Like you have these companies, and I don't want to throw them under the bus, but you name the barbecue company, the smoker company, the whatever, and truly they're just a marketing company for products that are being made somewhere else. They're not in charge of it. Yeah, they may design it, but like the quality input, what happens to the labor, it's not them. They just
That's
have
right.
passive, so they're just marketers
Yeah. 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 Because they're not in control of all that.
at
You
all.
know. Yeah, at
Yeah, but they
all.
pretend to be. They pretend to be. That in there, they want the world for them to believe, like, oh, I buy this brand and they're the best. Like, well, I'll give you an example from Murphy Ladder. Murphy Ladder is made in Suzhou, China. And at the same time, Warner Ladders made there, Little Giant Ladders made there, Costco, COSCO ladders made
Huh?
there, Gorilla ladders made there. All of them are made in the same exact plant. And people get so brand loyal, like, well, I'm this kind of ladder guy. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny because I received packages that even had Warner's label on them, even though they had my ladders in the middle. I'm like, I've been to their factories. They have all the brands. They're just putting different stickers. And I know what happens over there. I'm not saying that they were being treated poorly. The labor wasn't. But at the same time, Warner isn't making their ladders. Murphy Ladder's not making their ladders. These other companies weren't making their ladders, at least the ones that are being ran in that facility, right? So
Mhm. Mhm.
where I can say with 100% confidence that I'm making my doors, I'm making my hinges, I'm making this, and this is what this employee makes. These are the benefits, these are the things. I know he has a nice car. I know he lives in his home. I know he has great kids. I know they play soccer. Like I can see the lifestyle that they get to participate in. Where with my ladder brand, I have no idea if they're really being taken care of or not. I just see them on the line.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling. Like I want to know that they're okay as
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
So,
Once again, you're speaking to the value of relationships here, and you want to make sure your people are taken care of because when your people are taken care of, when they're happy where they're at, they're just going to perform better because not because they have to, but because they want to, because they feel seen, heard, and understood and appreciated, you know.
agree. It's
Yeah.
100% true. We have kind of the inverted triangle pyramid, right? So I put my customer or my employees first, and my customers are second,
Okay.
right? And I know that seems a little bit backwards, but it's really hard to have super happy customers if I have super unhappy employees.
That's
So
right.
I
Yeah.
know that if I have super happy employees, the secondary will happen much easier. They're going to be proud of what they do. They don't want to lose their job. They have an equity, I shouldn't say a capital like equity investment, but they have an investment in the brand to make sure that we stay strong. so they can get their raises, so they can get their paychecks, so they can have their benefits, and they can keep the 401k matches and tuition reimbursement. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of backwards, and some customers don't like that idea, but I think it's pretty easy to understand that happy employees will make happy customers.
You bet. You bet.
So,
And yeah, happy employees will make happy customers. And so you end up getting happy customers if you take care of your employees. And
yep.
so,
And by the way, that took a little while of running my own business to realize I was doing it backwards. Like I was always worried about the happiness of my customers to the cost of my employees.
okay.
And then I could see that they could tell that I could care less about that. Well, I shouldn't say care less. I cared less, or they felt that I cared less about them than I do my customers. And he's
Mhm.
like, "Well, you're money about it. And you just like whoever wants to pay you money, but you don't care about who's making you money." I'm like, "No, that's not at all it. But we won't get to make money until that." And then I started realizing I need to reverse this a little bit. I need to put my employees first and let everybody know that my employees are first and customers are second, because I need to make sure I have happy ones to give you a happy customer.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
I think, I mean, so do you let your employee, or not your employees, your customers know this and stuff, that this is your belief system and stuff? And
it's
if
not
so, how does
posted
it
on
land
our
with them?
website. I should do it. It's all on, whether it be in magazines or news releases or podcasts such as this one. I
Mhm.
say it out loud everywhere I speak. I'm like, our employees are first. So I don't know how it lands with them. And to be honest with you, I would just say on our Google reviews, we're a 4.9. So
Well, you
do
got
we have
pretty
mad
happy
customers?
customers
Yes.
if you're at
Yeah.
4.9.
With
There
hundreds and
ain't too many
hundreds of
people
reviews.
there.
And I have mad ones, right? We mess up. We do mess up, and it happens. And it's something we work on every day, and we learn the most from our 1 star. But our Google average is still 4.9.
Yes.
So I'll be good with that.
Well, 4.9 is pretty doggone impressive. And you know what? The reality is nobody is perfect. And everybody's going to drop the ball once in a while. But when it happens, I imagine you just take personal responsibility too, you
We
know.
do. We
And
do. And when they ask for a call, I'll call them,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
happy to call them. I actually learn more. And we look forward, not that we look forward to a 1 star, but I look forward. I wish they would call me first before they got all angry and got, keyboard warrior on us, because we
Yeah.
will take care of it. But at the same time, like, I'm happy to learn from that. There's a 360 opportunity in every 1 star, which means I have the opportunity to get a 360 review, understand the whole story behind the 1 star. Like, what was the experience? There's a full rotational experience that drove them all the way down to be so mad that they feel like it's a 1 star. Now, in my heart, I know this sounds really bad, and I've said this a lot, but I don't believe in 1 stars and I don't believe in 5 stars. I
Okay.
just don't. I believe a 1 star, fine if you stole money, fine. But if you didn't steal money, if 1 star is the worst you can possibly do, then how could 1 star be equal to taking money and never delivering a product? One. 5 star, like if I paid $1,000 for $1,000 thing, then I should basically feel like it's an equal exchange. I gave you $1,000, you gave me a thing worth $1,000, and that's worth the same thing, right? I would say that's a 3 star, unless you did exceptional service, maybe a 4 star, but I don't know how you get to 5 star. Like, I think you're either one step above or below. And again, we can't, that's why I came up with Pure Brand, the software brand that we have, is to help really truly get a 360 review on all reviews and understand opinions and what we could do better and have action plans behind it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, for anybody that's listening to this going, man, Kev, I really am glad you interviewed Jeremy, because, man, I just love who he is. I love how he shows up. And maybe they like to find out more about you, your company, any websites,
sure.
any resources we can share with folks.
I'd love to share that. So I'm the real Jeremy Barker on Instagram. It says the real Jeremy Barker. I finally got
Okay.
that back. I had one, I think it was J Barker 482, and everybody thought it was some bot. And then I have Jeremy, it's true that I goes J Barker 482. What's this? And then Jeremy G Barker on Instagram. And then I have jeremygbarker.com, as well as murphydoor.com, which is our door store.
Okay.
So you can
Okay.
find me all there. And on TikTok, it's mostly Jeremy G Barker everywhere. So
Okay. 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 All right. And then Jeremy G. Barker. I'm going to make sure I write that down so I can.
yep.
G. Barker. Okay. 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 Any last thing that you feel led to share, Jeremy, before we call it a
Sure.
night?
I have a book that I published called Founder Fallout, and that talks about the 100 questions you should ask before getting a partner, before you split equity.
Okay.
And I think that's worth the read. You get a lot of people asking, like, I'm ready to go with partners. But I think, asking the hard questions up front, these are things that you find most young entrepreneurs or even the seasoned entrepreneurs find themselves. They have a great idea, they have a good friend, and they're ready to launch, but they have two different visions for their long term. One wants to keep it forever. One wants to sell as soon as they have some money. One works hard until they make a little money and they feel like they're ready to ride the yacht. So I that's kind of been a fun little passion project of mine. It's got a book inside as well as a workbook to sit down and talk to your future partner or current partner. And my uncle read it. And he said, I should have read it before I got married. I'm like, oh, that wasn't at all what my intention was, but I get what that people get that from. So, and that's called Founder Fallout. It's on Amazon. You're welcome. Anybody to
Under
read that.
fallout. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't
Okay.
not try to sell it. I mean, I'd love to have people just get it. I just think it's a fun one. So
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'll tell you, Jeremy, I really appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation today, and really appreciate what you shared here. And I am excited to get this out there and share it with folks. So thank you so much, man.
Well, Kevin, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate you, and I hope the best for you and your audience. And thank you for taking the time to listen. And if they need anything, I'm here. By the way, my email is Jeremy at Murphy Door if anybody wants to ask me some questions as well.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jeremy.
You are welcome, sir. Thank you, Kevin.